Ever wonder how Netflix went from a crazy idea to the king of streaming, with over 200 million subscribers worldwide? The story behind it is just as binge-worthy, and it all revolves around one man, Reed Hastings. This isn't just a tale of a successful company. It's the story of a visionary who failed, learned, and completely reinvented how we watch movies and TV shows forever. So grab your popcorn, because we're diving deep into the incredible journey of Reed Hastings, from his humble beginnings to becoming a multi-billionaire. Reed Hastings wasn't born into a world of Silicon Valley riches. He was born in Boston, Massachusetts. In 1960, his father was a lawyer for the Nixon administration, and his mother was a high society debutante from Boston. From a young age, Reed was an adventurous spirit. After graduating from a private high school, he didn't immediately jump into an Ivy League college. Instead, he took a gap year selling vacuum cleaners door to door. It was a tough, humbling job, but it taught him invaluable lessons about sales, rejection, and persistence. These were lessons that would shape his entire career. Following his gap year, Hastings enrolled at Bowdoin College, where he majored in mathematics. But his thirst for adventure hadn't been quenched. After graduating, he joined the Peace Corps. This wasn't a typical path for an aspiring tech mogul. He was sent to Swaziland in southern Africa, where he taught high school math from 1983 to 1985. He often describes this experience as a pivotal moment in his life, one that combined adventure with a sense of service. It also gave him a unique perspective on problem-solving and risk-taking. Living in a completely different culture taught him adaptability and resilience, qualities that are essential for any entrepreneur. When he returned to the United States, Hastings was ready for his next challenge. He set his sights on the burgeoning world of technology and enrolled at Stanford University, earning a Master's degree in computer science in 1988. It was here that he truly immersed himself in the culture of innovation that defined Silicon Valley. After Stanford, he worked as a software developer, but it didn't take long for his entrepreneurial spirit to kick in. In 1991, Reed Hastings founded his first company, Pure Software. The company created tools for software developers to find and fix bugs in their code. It was a classic Silicon Valley startup story. Hastings poured all his energy into it, and he faced the typical challenges of a first-time CEO. He admits he was not a natural manager at first. He struggled with the complexities of leading a rapidly growing team. But true to his character, he learned from his mistakes. He pushed himself to understand what it takes to build a great corporate culture. Pure Software was a success. The company went public, and then in 1997 it was acquired by Rational Software. The deal made the 37-year-old Hastings a millionaire overnight. For many, this would have been the ultimate goal, the end of the road. But for Reed Hastings, it was just the beginning. He was now armed with capital, experience, and a burning desire to build something even bigger. And the idea for his next venture came from a very relatable experience: a late fee. The legend goes that Hastings rented the movie Apollo 13 from his local Blockbuster video store. He was late returning it and got hit with a $40 late fee. On his way to the gym, annoyed by the charge, he had a eureka moment. He thought, what if there was a movie rental service like a gym membership? You pay a flat monthly fee and you can rent as many movies as you want with no late fees. It was a simple, powerful idea that directly addressed a major pain point for customers. In 1997, along with co-founder Mark Randolph, Reed Hastings launched Netflix. But it wasn't the streaming giant we know today. It was a DVD by mail service. At the time, DVDs were a brand new technology, and many people were still using VHS tapes. The idea was simple. You go online, choose the movies you want, and Netflix mails them to your house in their iconic red envelopes. When you're done, you mail them back and get the next ones on your list. No due dates, no late fees. It was a brilliant model, but it wasn't an overnight success. The early days were tough. The company was burning through cash and they were up against a massive competitor, Blockbuster. In the year 2000, with Netflix struggling, Hastings and Randolph flew to Dallas to meet with the CEO of Blockbuster. They offered to sell Netflix to Blockbuster for $50 million. Their idea was that Netflix would run Blockbuster's online brand. The Blockbuster CEO practically laughed them out of the room. He saw Netflix as a tiny niche business that posed no real threat. It would go down as one of the biggest business blunders in history. Getting rejected by Blockbuster was a turning point. Hastings realized he couldn't rely on anyone else. He had to make Netflix work on his own terms. So they doubled down. They refined their subscription model and focused relentlessly on the customer experience. The business started to grow slowly but surely. By 2002, Netflix went public, and by 2005, they were shipping 1 million DVDs every single day. They had survived and were beginning to thrive. But Reed Hastings was already looking years ahead. He knew that mailing physical discs was just a temporary solution. The future, he believed, was in streaming video directly over the internet. This was a radical idea back then. Internet speeds were slow, and data was expensive. Many people, including some on his own board, thought he was crazy to pivot away from a successful and profitable DVD business. But Hastings saw the writing on the wall. He knew that technology would eventually catch up to his vision. In 2007, Netflix launched its Watch Now streaming service. Initially, the library was small, only about 1,000 titles, and the quality wasn't great, but it was a start. Hastings was willing to cannibalize his own successful DVD business to invest in the future of streaming. He famously said that companies rarely die from moving too fast, but they frequently die from moving too slowly. He was determined not to be the next Blockbuster. The transition to streaming was not smooth. In 2011, Hastings made one of his biggest missteps. He announced a plan to split the company into two: Netflix for streaming and a new company called Quickster for the DVD by mail service. This meant customers would have to manage 2 separate accounts and pay 2 separate fees. The customer backlash was immediate and intense. The company's stock price plummeted, and they lost hundreds of thousands of subscribers. It was a public relations disaster. But once again, Hastings showed his ability to learn from failure. He quickly apologized, admitted his mistake, and reversed the decision to create Quickster. He was transparent with his customers and his investors, and he took full responsibility. This humility and willingness to pivot back is a rare trait in a CEO, and it helped Netflix regain trust and get back on track. The real game changer came in 2013. Instead of just licensing content from other studios, Netflix decided to create its own. They spent $100 million to produce House of Cards, a high-quality political drama directed by David Fincher and starring Kevin Spacey. And they did something unheard of. They released the entire season all at once. This was the birth of binge watching. It was a massive risk, but it paid off spectacularly. House of Cards was a critical and commercial success, winning Emmy Awards and proving that a streaming service could produce content on par with major television networks like HBO. This move into original content transformed Netflix from a tech company into a full-fledged entertainment studio. They followed up with hits like Orange is the New Black, Stranger Things, and The Crown. They weren't just a platform anymore. They were a creator of culture. Reed Hastings had successfully disrupted Hollywood. A key part of Hastings' success is his unique management philosophy, which he detailed in his book No Rules Rules. He believes in building a culture of freedom and responsibility. This means hiring the best people, paying them top-of-market salaries, and then giving them the freedom to make their own decisions without being bogged down by rules and processes. It's about trusting your employees to do what's best for the company. He also champions radical candor, encouraging open and honest feedback at all levels. This culture, he argues, is what allows Netflix to stay agile, innovative, and ahead of the competition. Today, Reed Hastings has a net worth of several $billion. Netflix is a global entertainment empire, producing content in dozens of languages and operating in nearly every country in the world. The company that Blockbuster laughed at is now worth more than many traditional media giants combined. The story of Reed Hastings is a masterclass in entrepreneurship. It's a story of seeing a problem and creating a solution. It's about having the courage to take huge risks and the vision to see where the world is going, not just where it is now. But most importantly, it's a story about resilience. He faced rejection, made huge mistakes, and nearly ran his company into the ground more than once. But every time he learned, adapted, and came back stronger. From selling vacuums door to door to teaching math in Africa, from a $40 late fee to building a global streaming giant, Reed Hastings has proven that with persistence, a willingness to learn from failure, and a bold vision for the future, you can truly change the world.